Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joe Pisapia, and today we're going to be talking about the division round of the playoffs. That's right, it is time to break down the games, our props, our favorite things. And speaking of favorite things, to help me go through it, of course, is the Welsh, who is clean shaven today. I don't even know who he is right now. He shaved the glorious goatee. It was so sexy. I don't know what's going on there. And fresh off his college admissions exams, Andrew Erickson wearing the collared shirt today, looking very good. Andrew, I hope your college resume had a lot of volunteer work on it. I know you joined a lot of clubs in high school. So how is the college stuff going?
It was great. You know, I got to sit on some job interviews. I said that I knew Sean McVay, and immediately everyone's eyes lit up. And they're like, this guy knows Sean McVay? Like, oh, great. So
Sean McVay
feeling good.
He's like the only man that can win an argument with his wife because he remembers literally every moment that's ever happened, Welsh. I imagine that's got to be a pretty valuable thing, right? Do you think that makes his wife upset and annoyed? Because he can remember a play from like 1997 that he ran in Pop Warner.
Yeah, I'm not sure Sean McVay is doing anything to upset his wife. If you've ever seen his wife,
it's a good
setup here. By the way, so like, are we going with this? Like, this is college exam version of Andrew Erickson? Is that what we're saying here?
I like it. Are you that or school picture day? I'd like to have lasers behind you if we could. I
was thinking like maybe he just joined a fraternity. It's like Parlay Kappa Under. That'll be his fraternity. Parlay Kappa Under for Andrew Erickson.
Nice. I can't wait to pledge. All right, we're going to pledge to you the best betting content on the planet. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel wherever you get, obviously, your YouTube, which is dumb because, well, it's just one app. But anyway, make sure you subscribe to the podcast version wherever you get your podcast. That's what I meant to say. And, of course, don't forget, if you drop your comments below, you can win a 1-year free premium upgrade to Betting Pros right now. Again, the best betting tools on the planet can be yours. If you want to try them out, go download them right now because on iOS, you get 3 free days of premium. But, again, you can always upgrade to at bettingpros.com/premium today. Lots of stuff going on, not just NFL, also NBA with Matt Modi every Wednesday, every Friday, right here on the channel live, 11 a.m. Eastern with the best bets in NBA. Modi's a genius. Go check him out. If you haven't already, go win some cash. Gentlemen, let's begin at the beginning. Saturday, I guess evening, late afternoon, however you want to call it. Houston Texans, Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore 9.5-point favorites in this one. 43.5 is the number right now on Betting Pros. Plus 360 on the money line for Houston's the best number you can get. Andrew Erickson, let's start with you. Your thoughts on this game and your favorite prop attached to it.
I'm taking the Texans plus 9.5. Again, the wild card round is the round where the teams get blown out. That's where the bad teams that made the playoffs get weeded out. That's why the divisional round is often viewed as this is the best teams. This is the best weekend for football because you're getting the 8 best teams that legitimately should be there. So the fact that the Texans are getting this much disrespect at 9.5 points, they just destroyed the Cleveland Browns, a team that beat the Ravens this year. The team that beat the 49ers, the only team that beat both the number 1 seeds. The Texans destroyed them. So I don't think it's nearly enough respect put on the Texans. I get they're playing on the road. I get that they probably won't win this game, but plus 9.5, they're 70% against the spread as an underdog this season. And the thing that gives me the most confidence about backing them just covering here is they've been really good playing teams for the second time. You know, when you look at what they've done, 3-1 against the spread in second game matchups. So we saw with the Cleveland Browns, they lost to Cleveland the first time, they beat them the second time. Jacksonville, Tennessee, those types of teams, when they lost to them the first time, they won the second game. So again, don't necessarily think the Texans are going to win outright. Maybe they're just 1 year away. BC Stroud and the Texans get back to the postseason next year. I think this is more about the Ravens being it their year. But at 9.5 points, look, we saw this team go toe-to-toe in week 1. That game was 7-6 going into the second half of the game. 7-6. And I get the Baltimore Ravens offense wasn't clicking, but the Texans offense wasn't clicking either. So I think that 9.5 is really easy here. Plus 9.5 to just take CJ Stroud and just bet on the best rookie quarterback we've seen in I don't know how long.
Yeah, that's where I stand with this game too. What about the prop, Andrew? Where do you stand in terms of the prop department on this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with an under here. Shocking, everybody. Gus Edwards under 52.5 rushing yards.
Your fraternity would be so proud.
I know. That's how they
parlay under Kappa. Or parlay Kappa under.
I just want to continue to fade against running backs facing the Texans defense. Now, the only thing that concerns me is game script. If the Ravens do get up big, even though I do think this game will be more back and forth, that could be an issue, but you just can't run on the Texans. 3 running backs have surpassed the rushing totals against the Texans since week 8. 8 of the last 10 running backs have gone under their rushing yardage total. And among those running backs, 3 have gone over 50 yards. So with his prop over 50 yards, Gus Edwards still splits time with Justice Hill. Maybe we get a little Dalvin Cook action. Maybe Dalvin Cook wakes up in the playoffs after the team cut Melvin Gordon. So just again, another reasons why just to get away from Gus Edwards.
All right, Welsh, you've got a different story to tell about this game, so let's hear it.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of in the same general area as Erickson here in that, like, I get where he's going. You're going to take some plus money bets, especially on some of these big spreads here. In that respect, because a lot of those plus money things are against the best teams in the NFL, Baltimore, one we're going to talk about here in a little bit, I just don't feel as comfortable with it. So I'm moving away and I'm going to totals and I'm playing with the totals. And like last week, I did the same thing. I think I got this one on maybe it was the Kansas City one or maybe the Buffalo one, but I'm going to play with some first half. So I'm not taking the spread. I'm not taking a money line and I'm not taking a full game total. I am going to go to the first half and I'm going to take the first half over for both of these teams here. Baltimore, 4th in scoring in the NFL overall. They're also 4th highest scoring first half team with 15.4 points, though they give up the lowest first half points in the NFL. Houston is the 11th highest scoring first half team. So you've got 2 top 12 first half scoring teams. They are number 1 though, with 19.3 points scored in the first half over the last 3 games. So give me a couple first half overall powerhouse offenses. I'm going to take 21.5 over in the first half. That's what I feel comfortable with. I'm playing with a lot of these totals and I'm divvying out a little bit different than our normal bets here. I don't like +9. I get it. If I were to take a spread in that game, I would take Houston. I don't like the first half spread either on either side. So that's why I'm going to play with this total.
All right, let's play with a prop for this game. Who do you have for us?
All right, we're going to go to Zay Flowers, and we are going to go back to the alternative receiving yard market. We smashed David Njoku last week at the 80+. That was a big one. We're not going as crazy, but Zay Flowers is, you know what? I forgot to write it down. I think it's like 53.5, somewhere right around there. Maybe it's 50.5 on his receiving yard total. I'm going to push that up to 60+, which you're going to get 125, 130, depending on the market you look at. Flowers has hit this prop in 3 of his last 4. 2 of his last 4 games, Flowers has had double-digit targets. The Texans, they're coming off a 300+ yard passing performance against Flacco, with 2 of their wide receivers that got 60+. Cleveland's wide receiver, 60+ against the Houston defense, and 4 wide receiver tight ends went for 54 or more. So the overall prop looks good. I'm pushing it up to get plus money. So give me 60+ Zay Flowers receiving yards on the alt market.
48.5, Welsh, is the original
48.5, that's what it is.
Yeah, the best number you can get is over at Caesars, it looks like. I'm looking over at BettingPros. And that's why I use BettingPros. So you have all these things at your fingertips. Minus 101, too. There's a wacky number you don't see every day. Let's get to the next contest here. Welsh's San Francisco 49ers are going to be hosting the Green Bay Packers, coming off an absolutely huge victory. San Fran is favored by 10. Erickson, we've seen a lot of teams favored by double digits. Not exactly always follow through with that huge number here. Welsh, will let you marinate on this for a while. Erickson, let's start with you with this game. First of all, what side or total do you like? And also on top of that, give me a prop that you think is going to come through on Saturday night.
I mean, I'm just going to rinse and repeat here. Again, another +9.5. Again, we got rid of the bad teams last week. Like, the Packers are not a bad team. So, again, we've seen the 49ers have massive spreads at home throughout the season. And for the most part, they don't cover these spreads. The last 5 home games for the 49ers, 0-5 against the spread. The last 10 games for the 49ers, when they've played teams, or the road teams and 49ers games, the last 10 have all covered the spread. And who's been one of the better underdogs this season covering the spread has been the Green Bay Packers. 7 of the Packers' last 9 games, the underdogs have not just covered the spread, they've won outright. So, again, do I think the Packers are going to win? Probably not. They had the magic last week, but 9.5 points is just too many points again. Like, again, we're talking about the best of the best teams. And Vegas is telling us, oh, well, these teams are actually so bad against these number 1 seeds. Yes, they're coming off, they're getting rest, etc. But the teams that, when you have these underdogs, you want them to have momentum. And they both have momentum entering this game. The Texans have momentum and the Packers. So I'm taking the Packers +9.5. They show they can score points. And if it's going to be a shootout, yeah, the Packers are going to give up 30, but the Packers can score 30 on the 49ers too.
Right.
And if that's the case, then I think they can keep this well within 9.5 points. So that's why I like the Packers plus 9.5. And then my prop is an over, and it's my stone cold lock of the week. Jayden Reed over 3.5 receptions. Receptions is back.
Receptions totals with Sean Connery and Andrew Erickson.
Oh, hell, receptions.
Jayden Reed has been a
I-
rock when it comes to this offense.
He has been, but not last week. It was a tough matchup for him in the slot against Dallas. But this week, the 49ers allowing the 5th most catches to wide receivers this season during the regular season. They give up a lot of completions. Just ask Welsh. He knows they do. So I'm taking the over on Jayden Reed. Before last week, Jayden Reed had gone 8 straight games with 4 catches, at least. 8 straight. So last week was a total outlier. This is my stone cold lock of the week. It's really juicy. It's like minus 130. ESPN bet is the best line I could find. But if you want to parlay it with the Packers, plus 9.5, I think it's a really good way to make it, a little bit better payout.
Congratulations. The first mention of ESPN bet on the show, too. I don't think we've done that quite yet. So lots of new things. Yeah. Welsh, what the hell is that? Is that a frock?
It's like a.
You're holding. What
I'm
is
actually
this?
not sure. It's like a backpack bag type of thing.
Yeah, I have
It
no
looks like
idea.
it's
It's
something
got
I
this
use
extra
in my
flap
kitchen
on
to
it.
wipe
Yeah.
my hands.
This is a magic bag. What are we doing?
What's inside of it? Oh,
Points. I'm pulling out points. 49er points all over the board. That's what we're pulling out here because I'm not touching the spread on the Erickson laid it out. 49ers can underplay this. This is a big number. If this was Niners 6.5, I'd take it at the touchdown. I'm not doing that. What is the 49ers' biggest drag? Their secondary. What has been working so well for the Green Bay Packers? Throwing the ball. So 50.5 points. I'm pulling it out of the bag. That's going to be my bet if I'm going to be betting on this actual 49ers side. And just to point out, 2 of the top 8 scoring teams per game in the NFL are the Packers and the 49ers. So we're pulling out all of the points.
Welsh's magical satchel of points. That's great.
Yeah, it's got like a little like a weird thing to hook the bag
it's like
on.
a little hook, that little weird hook that never works, and then it
Ooh,
snaps
50
off
and a
there.
half hook. That might be a sign. You know what? Buy it down. 49.5. Lock it in.
There you go. Erickson, the reason why the Patriots didn't score because we didn't have a bag of points this year at all. Just no bags full points. Nope. Nothing. That bag had a hole in it. Give me a prop that you like, Welsh, here for the San Francisco 49ers.
This is my craziest one. Now, if I were to pull out a magic
fiddling
trick
with your little
I'm trying to do
clip
this
there. Oh,
sorry. If I were doing a magic trick, we could be
I'm
talking
afraid of what
about
you're going to pull out of that bag right now.
pulling out a ladder. We could be pulling out here. But I'm going to present to you. Let me get this thing off here. Get out of here. I'm going to give you my big alt bet of the week. I'm going big. I gave you David Njoku last week. We are going Brandon Aiyuk, alternate yards 100 plus. Now, you could ladder that. I'm not necessarily saying we have to ladder that, but obviously this breeds to 60, 70, 80, 90. But I'm going to bet the plus 100 because it is plus 400, 4-1 on the money. Aiyuk has hit this 100 marker 2 of the last 3 weeks, as well, obviously, as his actual prop. Here's this weird thing with Aiyuk. On the season, against whatever his receiving prop number is, he has only hit this 67.5 one time where he didn't go over 100 yards. So did I make sense with that? This 67.5, only one time this whole season did it clear where he did not hit 100 yards. Aiyuk has not had a 60-yard game receiving this year, an 80-yard receiving game this year, or a 90-yard receiving game this year. He went 70 once. Otherwise, he goes over 100 yards. He did that 7 times this year. This weekend, he's also being given PFF's best cornerback wide receiver matchup. So plus 100 yards for plus 400 is my alt bet. And obviously, there is a ladder that you can play if you want to play along.
All right, Erickson, let's go back to you as we go to Detroit, where the Lions are going to take on the Buccaneers here. The Lions are favored by 6.5 at home. I keep saying if one game is going to go sideways, this is the one. So I personally think that Tampa plus 250 on the money line is very intriguing. I think the Lions might have let it all hang out last week. That was their Super Bowl in a lot of ways. And I think there's a lot of emotion running through them. I'm not saying that the Lions aren't a better team. They are. But the better team doesn't always win. Sometimes the team that plays the best wins, and I think they should be very afraid of what could happen there with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on that field against that secondary. But Erickson, how do you see this contest, and who do you see coming out the better for it with a prop?
Well, I'm not picking sides in this contest because I have
you love mommy and daddy. You love them both, right?
Because I'm sitting on a Lions Super Bowl ticket, so that's what I'm kind of holding out for. So it'd be a Bucs edge, if anything else. But I just like the game total over, because where are we playing this, guys? Ford Field. What do we say every single week about Ford Field? Coors Field, the NFL. And somehow last week didn't go over, even though they scored like 40 points in the first half.
Yeah.
There was like field goals. So again, I'm just not going to bet on that happening twice. Like that game, if you had watched last week's Lions game and Rams, you'd be like, well, this game's going over like 60 points. And then for some reason, it just didn't. The team stalled out. That's not going to happen 2 weeks in a row, especially with the Buccaneers coming into this game 4 straight unders. That's not going to continue. Like regression to the moon here, folks. And where do we see regression hit at the highest rate? 14 of the last 18 games played at Ford Field have gone over 51 points. So this total's not even at 50. It's at 48.5. So I think there's value on that, especially when it's not up to that 50 line. That's where I start to get a little, is there really value on this number anymore? I like the over in this game more than the over in the 49ers-Packers game. It's a better number. It's in a dome. And there are 2 defenses that cannot stop anybody. They're 2 of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. So I like both these quarterbacks in this matchup. I love doing this with same-game parlays with some of these player props. So for me, it's the over on the game and the over on Amon-Ra St. Brown, 88.5 receiving yards, 100 receiving yards. It doesn't matter. Like, just take the over Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's just done it every single week. 95 or more receiving yards, 7 of his 8 games played at home this year. He's 90-plus receiving yards in 4 straight games. And when he played the Buccaneers earlier this year, 124 receiving yards. Like, there's no one that's like just wakes up for 100 yards like the sun god himself. So I'm going to pray to him. He's going to get it done.
Who do you have the Lions at? When did you lock them in for the Super Bowl? What's that number out of curiosity?
I'd have to double check.
You're talking double digits here?
Where you can check.
Where you can track all of your bets at any given moment. Did you know that?
Is it a place you can cash out, by the way, too?
I was going to say, if they win this week, this might be the time to do it. It might not get much better than this.
Yeah, no.
While you're searching for that, we'll go and get Welsh's take on this game. Welsh, sometimes you like to chop up these games into little bitty bits. So is that what you're doing with this one too?
Yeah, that's it. What I did here. Again, I'm kind of with Erickson. Like, I could play the over. I wanted to chop it up, like you're saying, in half. That's weird how you said that. I'm going with the first half over total at 23.5. Both of these teams in their games on the wild card, their first halves hit that against the respective teams they played. Erickson said this: they are both one of the worst pass defenses. In fact, they are both bottom 5 pass defenses in the NFL. So I'm expecting a lot of high flying. I run defense, I think, with the Lions is quite a bit better as well. But yeah, I expect this game to have points, and that's why I'm going to play that first half. 23.5, 3 touchdowns and a field goal gets me there. That is my game play.
All right, now let's talk about Sam LaPorta, because that's the prop you're talking about. Now, this one's a little dicey for me because of the health of LaPorta.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to sell me on the confidence level of why you like this one.
All right, low total, 39.5. And the health is definitely in question, though he was able to get out there and he was able to kind of get going. LaPorta has hit this only once in his last 3 games, and that's a big concern. But the Bucs were giving up the most fantasy points to tight ends in the final month of the season and the second most receiving yards to tight ends in that same period of time. On the year, the Bucs are averaging 6 catches for 60 yards on tight ends. LaPorta projections putting him around 50. He also has the second best tight end coverage matchup of the weekend. And he received 11 targets, but only 4 catches in the last matchup they had against the Bucs. I also almost took the receptions at plus 4.5, and that was plus money, but I decided to play it a little bit safer on the yards just in case it's one big play. Definitely the health is in question on what the snaps are going to look like, but it is a fantastic matchup for tight ends for a low total that is brought down because of this injury, but we are further removed from it. Big game, lots of high flying passing, so I like Sam LaPorta.
Did you find your ticket, your golden ticket, Erickson?
No, not yet. I'm working on it.
Oh, well, maybe you got to open a few more Wonka bars to get there. All right, let's get to, I'm going to be like Grandpa Joe, too. I'm just going to stay in bed all day and watch all these games. That's what I'm going to do. All right, let's get to The big primetime Sunday night contest. Kansas City going on the road for the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career to take on the Buffalo Bills. This one, obviously, right now, you have the Bills favorite at -2.5, which I just think is straight up wrong. I know, maybe I'm in the minority here, but that's what I think. I think Kansas City playing underdog on the road is exactly the tonic that they need to a very weird season. Make them the underdogs, make them fight for it, make them hungry again. A little bit of hustle for Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid is a good thing. They're tired of being at the top of the mountain. Sometimes you got to chase. Sometimes the chase is good. So, what are you chasing in this game, Andrew Erickson?
Yeah, I like the Chiefs as well with the spread. I'm not as bullish on them to win outright, just because I do think that this game will go down to the wire and it could just be whoever has the ball last ends up winning the game. But if you're just getting Mahomes with the points, that's just the way I like approaching it, just especially just looking at the trends. Like, all the trends just suggest, like, okay, like, you want to bet on Mahomes as an underdog. Like, they're 2-0 against the spread as an underdog this season, and they've been profitable as an underdog. The Bills are not good as favorites. 47% against the spread. That's less than half their games. If they're favored, they covered. So it's just not a spot where I feel like, yes, maybe Buffalo can win the game, but they're playing with all the pressure. Like, the Chiefs are coming in here like, well, we're supposed to lose. This year has been really wonky for us anyway. And it's like, we already won the Super Bowl last year. We already have multiple Super Bowls. Like, we don't have to win this year. Whereas the Bills, it's like, okay, like Buffalo, like, you don't get it done this year. Like, you could see things start to really spiral for this roster moving forward. Whereas the Chiefs really they're not in that position. So I think it's a little bit of pressure on the Bills. I think that works in favor of the Chiefs. The underdogs cover the spread 8 of the Chiefs' last 11 games, and the Chiefs cover the spread in 9 games as road underdogs against AFC opponents. So again, just if you look at any type of trend, it's going to be, you want Mahomes as an underdog, you want Mahomes on the road, and you don't want to bet on the Bills as heavy home favorites. So I like the Chiefs here with the points. But from a prop standpoint, my favorite has to be Josh Allen and his rushing attempts, because I think with both these quarterbacks, you just see them take on a Superman-esque persona, because they're like, I'm willing to put this game all on my shoulders, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to win this game. So I think you're going to see a lot of rushing attempts from both quarterbacks, but specifically with Josh Allen, he's gone over 10 carries in 3 of his last 6 games. You can get this number at plus money on DraftKings, plus 105, over 9.5 rushing attempts. You can get a better number, at least earlier in the week, was on FanDuel at 8.5. It's obviously a little bit more juicy, but I think that Josh Allen's just going to run wild here. And it's interesting because I looked at his game splits in his career, and what team has he rushed against more than any other team? Over 10 rushing attempts per game against the Chiefs. So he knows, like, when he's suiting up in the locker room getting ready for this game, he's putting on the Superman cape. Like, he knows he has to be Superman for the Bills to win this game. So that's the way I would approach the prop. Josh Allen over his rushing yards, rushing attempts is what I like the most.
And use the prop bet cheat sheet, everybody, to find these numbers we're talking about and find the best place to bet them. The rushing yards, by the way, 45.5, and the best number I'm looking at the prop bet cheat sheet to get them is a points bet at -115. This is the power of betting pros. The power of the Welsh is seeing into the future. So I like Kansas City more than Erickson. Where do you stand here with Kansas City and Buffalo, Mr. Welsh?
I'm going to go 3 for here. Kansas City. Really, Erickson got every single point. One of the biggest points I had written down, I saw that note on DK, that the Chiefs have a 9-game win streak against dogs against the AFC. And I pushed it a little bit. I didn't see a +3. I like that field goal marker. I saw a lot of 2.5s in the market right now. And that pushed me to go, you know what? I'm going to go money line. This did screw me last week with the Rams. It has absolutely screwed me. I went Rams money line, and it was the +2.
Me too.
So had I taken the spread, but I saw on FanDuel, it's around +125 for the money line on Kansas City. So if I were you guys out here, the smart thing to do is have lots of books so you got lots of options. But if you don't, and you're looking at a book that's 2.5, I don't really love Kansas City at 2.5. I'd rather go into the money line, take the plus money on that shot, because I think this is the better team in this matchup. So I'm going Kansas City. I will tell you this, in the prop market, found 3 different ones. I changed this 3 different times. I'm going to throw out the one weird one that I put out. It's not the one I'm going to say here, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire rushing yards was 8.5. And I kind of couldn't help myself. He had 7 attempts last week. He had 11 against Kansas City the last time. It's such a low total. It's not a crazy cold weather thing, like it's negative degrees, but it is around like 17 degrees, and they might try to keep it on the ground, especially in trying to kind of like own and maintain possession of time that I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire will get a shot. So that was one that I like, but I did end up flipping it. And I'm going to go with James Cook receptions, 2.5 over. He's hit this in his last 2 weeks. He's coming off of a 4-catch games, and the Chiefs so far averaging 4 receptions, giving up to running backs per game. And Cook in their last meeting had 5 receptions. If I think Kansas City is owning this game at all, they're going to be passing it. And that short yardage stuff, Josh Allen can dump it off to James Cook is a good thing. I was also looking at Kincaid. There's just so many options in this game that I kept playing around with. But James Cook was what I settled on. This is my worst juiced bet. I think it's around 120, maybe 125, but peek around James Cook receptions.
Yeah, but it's
I'll
a low
play that
number.
one.
So it's one of those things. If you like this one and you like the Chiefs and the money line, you put them together, little skinny parlay we talk about, the little duo bet. Next thing you know, all of a sudden you're well into the plus money and things are looking good. So hopefully things are looking good for all of you. Again, use the tools at Betting Pros. Use the prop bet cheat sheet. Use everything that we're laying out there. Make sure you download the app today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop your picks in below, too. I want to hear all your picks in the YouTube comments. Drop them below. Pick all the games, and we can have some fun together about them when we come back next week, because next week is championship week, and who knows if Welsh's bag of points will make another appearance next week. We can only hope. There you go. He's going to make it rain with points, ladies and gentlemen. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For the Welsh and Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.